happy, be healthy, be your best. Be your best.
So today we're going to talk about the reticular activation system. I'm going to call it RAS from here on out. There's a lot of beliefs about the brain. The reticular activation system is a very integral part of your brain. Some of the old beliefs are that we only use 10% of our brain. Not true. Some of the beliefs are that brain cells can't be regenerated. Not true. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they've shown that brain can be regenerated and activated all kinds of ways. People in their 90s starting a new career, writing a book, learning a language. So much about what they used to believe about the brain has gone by the wayside. One of the things about the brain is there's a really tight brain-gut connection. When you have that gut feeling, or you're nervous to your stomach, or you're anxious in your stomach, or you get nauseous thinking about something, that's because there's such a tight connection between your brain and your gut. Why so? Because when you were forming in the womb, there actually was one clump of cells. They separated, and half of it became the brain, and the other half became the gut. But they are connected through life almost by what is like spaghetti strands. So there is a very tight physical, emotional connection, nervous system connection between the brain and the gut. Every millisecond, 86 billion neurons are interpreting and having a response to your thoughts, your feelings, and what input is coming in from the environment around you. And this majorly affects your adrenals. Your adrenals sit on top of your kidneys, and they get affected by thoughts, by feelings, by stress, and they manage it. So there's a tight connection between the brain, the gut, and your adrenal response. You've heard of adrenal fatigue. You've had it where people get sensitive to bright light, get kind of faint when they stand up quick, that heart palpitations. A lot of these are adrenal responses to emotions and things that are going on in the body. And this has a direct effect on the RAS, the reticular activation system that is in the brain. That reticular activation system can make a complete difference in your life if you train it the correct way. What happens is over a lifetime with adrenal responses and with the things you think and the things that you feel, you end up on autopilot. Why is that? It's because of the reticular activation system. The reticular activation system is in the center of the brain, and it just has a direct response to all your thoughts and all your feelings. It's actually like a bouncer outside of a nightclub. It lets in and kicks out different things dependent on what you over a lifetime have decided is or isn't important. Changing that is what can completely retrain the reticular activation system and get it where your life goes into a completely different direction. It actually affects how you see your whole world. It also affects what opportunities you do or don't see in your lifetime, which is why what you see or do can be so different from somebody else right next to you seeing the same things that you're seeing. The reticular activation system actually responds to all of the things that are coming in from your environment. And it's like a bouncer in the brain. You know how there's a bouncer in the movies outside of the social club, and the bouncer just lets in certain people and then kicks certain people out that don't have a membership? That reticular activation system in your whole life has been letting in ideas, thoughts, and feelings and kicking out other thoughts and feelings for the positive or for the negative. Changing your reticular activation system, how that works, can have a major impact on what opportunities you see in your life and how things turn out. What happens over a lifetime is the reticular activation system is kind of like a dryer filter. It gets filled up with lint. It gets up with thoughts and feelings and ideas that aren't necessarily what you want to move and motivate your life forward in a positive direction. So what you have to do is go from a life that's maybe not quite as positive or isn't having as many good things happen as you want, and retrain that reticular activation system in order to have it be that your life goes in a different direction and you start to see all kinds of different possibilities that you didn't see before because your reticular activation system isn't just taking the negative side of things and only letting negative things in. The movie The Secret was one of the things that brought out some of the possibilities of this, where you could manifest. Unfortunately, The Secret had part of the equation, but science realizes now that there's another part of the equation that is really, really important. You can't just sit and think about what you want to manifest in your life. The law of attraction doesn't work just on thoughts. There's a much more powerful way to get things to come into your life. And that is not only have a new mindset, which is really needed for that reticular activation system to start letting you see different opportunities, but the mindset isn't enough. In addition to mindset, science is starting to see that action is what really starts to cement what that reticular activation system kicks out or lets in. Now, this can work into your benefit or to your detriment. And so, if you're wanting to change the results in your life, what you have to do is start cleaning the lint, kind of like a dryer filter, cleaning the lint out of your reticular activation system of the ideas, the beliefs, and the feelings that you no longer want to really have a major impact on your life. We've talked about how you have the people that are just always negative, and then you have the people that are always positive, and you have the people that just don't seem to achieve anything they want to achieve. And other people, no matter what they touch, it just seems to happen and, so to speak, turn to gold. A lot of this has to do with the reticular activation system. It's not just a matter of getting a new thought or a new mindset. What's happened is that science has started to show that you can't just sit and meditate and think about something and expect it to manifest. That what really is the fuel to the project, let's say, or the gas to the engine, is when somebody takes action. When somebody decides that they want to do something and that it's important to them, they're telling that bouncer, this is really, really important to me. This is really, really important to me. But the RAS, the reticular activation system, waits to think you're going to take action. You're just going to sit on the couch. Okay, you've talked about wanting to lose weight. Are you eating better? Are you exercising? Are you taking the action that you need to have it happen? Because you see, what science is seeing is that thoughts and feelings are a great start. And sometimes people will manifest some from those if they have really strong thoughts and feelings about something and have meditated on it a lot. But what really seals the deal and sets things in motion is action. That's what gets things going. That's what really ends up having people see more results than if they just have the thoughts and the feelings. Habits. People have to change habits. They have to look at, what am I doing in my life that the bouncer in my brain has over and over and over again seen that, well, how am I going to get a different outcome when this is the way that I've been thinking about it? It isn't necessarily beneficial to results. So those are the things that they have to change. Habits, habit of ways of thinking, habits, way of acting, habits, way of eating, habits, way of exercising, habits of interacting with other people. In order to have that reticular activation system let you see opportunities, you have to take action. We found in our office that one of the ways that we can really see what people need to take action on is by recording their voice in a program called the Inner Voice Program. The report that comes out from that shows exactly what emotions they need to work on that their reticular activation system has basically been operating on through a lifetime. And then it sends them a report in 4 balancing tones to listen to with headphones or earbuds to help rectify that situation and help it be that their RAS starts supporting them when they start taking the actions. People end up through the Inner Voice Program and really learning about the reticular activation system and having goal-directed, motivated behavior. That motivated behavior is what cements to the reticular activation system how important something is. Another way that we do it is by recording somebody's voice in a program called MindSync. And MindSync is where we record their voice saying either customized affirmations that they've done, or by having them read from a list of pre-done affirmations. And it records their voice in a program that actually goes in and helps deliver in their voice the frequencies to the reticular activation system in order to help them make those changes. People have gotten excellent results from that as well. We just do it over the phone and they listen to it with earbuds and with headphones. It's really, whether it's a man or a woman, it just really helps them get their thoughts and their feelings about what they want to do lined up with the action needed to convince the bouncer in their brain that they really, really want to achieve success and that they really are determined to solidify and cement in their brain the ability to see the opportunities that they want to act on. So I hope this helps you understand a little bit more how that bouncer in your brain works. The fact that you need to really come up with some clear ideas of what you want to accomplish with your life, what you want to feel differently about, what direction you want to go in. But then besides the thought and the mindset, you have to add in the action in order to get that reticular activation system to start acting on the things that are really important to you. Change your as, you change your life.